In this video, we're going to talk about Agile, what it is, where it came from, and try to help you answer the question of how agile are you really? This is Software Engineering Explained. Here at Software Engineering Explained, we want to help you to improve your engineering projects and make them more successful, helping everyone to have an enjoyable working environment. So if you want to see more content like this, please make sure you're subscribed because it really helps out the channel. In this video, we want to talk about Agile, what it is, what it isn't, and why it's important. Agile has become such a common term in engineering today that we often don't stop to think about what it means. We see projects and processes that are often described as agile, but sometimes they miss the point and they're not as agile as they claim. So let's dive into it and try to understand what Agile is all about. To understand Agile, we need to understand where it came from, and that was the development world of the late 90s and early 2000s. The software development process at the time was known as Waterfall. In Waterfall, work flows from one stage to another in a linear progression. It would move through requirements, architecture, development, test and release. At each stage there would be a formal sign-off process before it was approved or sent backwards if there was a problem. A project could take years to move through this process, making it expensive and slow. Often, projects would be delayed or over budget. To make things worse, the value of the project was only delivered right at the end, so businesses were forced to spend more and more money to finish them or lose all their investments. The result was that software projects had a reputation as high risk, causing businesses to look to off-the-shelf and existing solutions, even if they were a poor fit. Building software was just too much danger for most companies. In the early 2000s, groups of engineers started to get together to think about better ways to deliver software. And it was in this environment the Agile Manifesto was created. The Agile Manifesto is surprisingly short, at only 68 words in total. It says, "We are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others do it." This was a manifesto by developers for developers. The manifesto lists 4 key choices and asks teams to prioritize the ones on the left over the ones on the right. They are individuals and interactions over process and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. That is, while there is value in the items on the right, we value the items on the left more. And that's it. That is the Agile Manifesto. It doesn't give us a methodology or a rigid set of rules. It gives us a broad set of principles, asking us to value items on the left, but not dismissing the items on the right. The 12 Agile principles go into this in more detail. They are still broad and general, but they help us to understand the reasons behind Agile. The principles are: number 1, our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Number 2, welcome changing requirements, even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. Number 3, deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference for the shorter timescale. Number 4, business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. Number 5, build projects around motivated individuals Give them the environment and support they need and trust them to get the job done. Number 6. The most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and with a development team is a face-to-face conversation. Number 7. Working software is the primary measure of progress. Number 8. Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a consistent pace indefinitely. Number 9. Continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. Number 10. Simplicity. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. Number 11. The best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. And number 12. At regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. The Agile Manifesto says nothing about how to run an Agile project. Instead, the Agile Manifesto should be seen as a foundation to Agile development culture. It is this culture of iteration, improvement, and cooperation that is the heart of Agile, rather than the techniques and metrics that have grown out of it. The Agile Manifesto gives us an insight into the common problems that we see in software development today and how to solve them. It gives us key concepts like delivery should be frequent and working software is the measure of success. We could spend time writing long design documents and reviewing, but this would go against the concept of working software over comprehensive documentation. There would be value in the documentation, but it would not be as much value as building the software itself. The Agile approach is to build the software and write only the documentation that is needed by users and future developers. In Agile, we try to take the focus away from the process and artificial milestones that were so common in Waterfall. Instead, the measure of success is only in working software. Teams need to take time to reflect on their own work and improve their own processes. The process should not be dictated to a team, and one team cannot simply copy another. An Agile team needs to make their own decisions on how to achieve the goals of frequent, high-quality delivery. Business sponsors and the team need to trust each other and work together. At the start of a project, it was often common to see large requirements documents created and placed under version controls. Changes were hard, often with a process and approvals to make any kind of amendment. In Agile, we prefer responding to change over following a plan. Requirements are still vitally important, but they can be refined during the build, and changes are not seen as a big deal. In Agile, we know detailed requirements for a far-off feature are not realistic. We need to keep planning light until we need the detail. Then change is easy and there is minimal waste. And working together for a common goal is key. Contracts remain common and are vitally important. Even within companies, when development has to be funded from different cost centres. In Agile, we believe in customer collaboration over contract negotiation. The developers and the sponsors need to work together. A contract might still be needed, but it needs to be at the right level of detail so that collaboration can take place within the contract rather than the contract becoming a hindrance. So, what can we take away from all of this? The principles that Agile was built upon are fast delivery of business value using small increments and a close working relationship between the developers and the rest of the organisation. The Agile Manifesto was an attempt for software developers to move from being a cost to a major asset by helping the business to be successful. The process of software development is less important than actually delivering something that people can use. So how does this apply to our work nowadays? And how can we tell when our projects are actually agile? Let's try a quick Agile checklist. Number 1. Are you delivering software to production regularly? Number 2. Are your development teams working in partnership with the rest of the business to plan features, products, and delivery? Number 3. Are the development teams taking time to reflect on their own process and make changes to improve their work? Number 4. Are the development teams given the freedom they need to deliver value? Or are they constrained by internal processes, contracts, and rules? If you can tick these boxes, then yes, you might be agile. It's more likely that you can sort of tick some of them, and that's okay. These are goals and values that the organisation should strive for. Some might be harder than others in your organisation, but each step towards being agile is an improvement. Since the term agile first started to be used, it has become synonymous with software development. Any new project or startup will talk about agile. Recruiters and hiring managers expect engineers to know about agile. Agile methodologies such as Scrum, Kanban, and SAFe have become commonplace. In many ways, this has been a great success and vastly improved the way that software is created. But there are also dangers. Agile is everywhere, and we see more and more examples of the word agile being used without any of the key points of the Agile Manifesto actually being followed. We see agile being led by specialist agile coaches, delivery leads, and consultants. Agile has become big business, with everybody trying to sell a more agile way of doing things. Some of these approaches will work, some won't. Some are agile, and some definitely are not. When we talk about agile, it's important to remember those 68 words of the Agile Manifesto, and not to get caught up in the hype of the latest process. The agile process has become core of what people often talk about when discussing agile. But as we have seen, the process isn't actually the point. Instead, we need to look at our checklist and the Agile Manifesto and reflect with our teams about how we can do better. In future videos, we will talk more about agile techniques and how agile they really are. Please make sure you're subscribed and leave a comment down below if you liked this video.